Hey, why you laugh? Hey everybody, I'm Jalen. You want to tell me your name?
And I'm Cacie.
And welcome to this very unprofessional live chat. Thank you all. Today is Ask Us Anything Day. You can ask us any questions that you like. So as you're watching, we'll be monitoring the live chat, we promise. I have it pulled up right in front of me. So leave a question and we'll answer it. If you're watching afterward, it'll be too late. So I'm sorry, just letting you know.
You should have asked earlier. Like we've been saying for a whole week, ask us question, ask a question, and
well, here's the thing. We've done this before. This is the second time we're doing Ask Us Anything. And just like last time, when we tell people to ask us anything, people ask us relationship questions. They don't ask us questions.
Because you're saying
ask relationship.
anything. You should say.
I know, but I tried really hard this time to really make it questions about us, our relationship, parenting, our lives, our backstories,
in our lives anymore.
blah blah blah, and all that kind of stuff.
We don't share it too much.
Well, anyway, so so instead we've got some questions about relationships. So just like last time, we'll answer some of those questions about stuff. But if anybody who's watching live wants to actually ask us questions about us, our lives, the things that we do, profession, hobbies, likes, dislikes, all the different kind of stuff, then we'll be happy to answer them. So just leave a comment. We'll monitor so that we know what's going on there. But let me switch over here and find the questions that we did get that were about relationships. I would like to say your name, but I feel like I'm going to butcher it.
Well, I think before we get into that, we ought to just talk about what we're going to be doing for the next few months, and then we can get into the questions.
Okay, what are we doing for the next few months?
Nothing. That's not true at all. This is our last live for a while. Yeah, it is. Like, we got so many projects that we are working on right now, and you guys, this Saturday is October 1st. Like, how is it October already? And before you know it, it'll be the end of the year. So we're getting into the holidays and stuff like that. So we're just trying to wrap up a lot of projects and things like that. So we're not going to be doing lives. I don't know. We might do a random live. Don't know. You know how we do sometimes. But we won't be doing every Thursday like we've been doing for the foreseeable.
Well, at least until the end of the year, we won't have lots. In place of that, though, on Thursdays, we will have something else.
Yeah. So we will always have something going for you guys. So don't worry about that. And, of course, you'll always have our live stream. So you can always watch us 24/7 if you like.
Just talk about JCTV.
JCTV. Oh, they don't know about JCTV?
Well, I'm just saying. There might be someone new watching.
If you don't know about JCTV, then what are you doing? But yeah, that's all I wanted to say before we get into.
Okay, and I thought you were going to give more detail. So every Thursday, what you're going to get is a question. You got to see your face. I'm not looking at it. Q&As. So basically, we've been getting questions again, unrelated to this particular broadcast, but just general questions. We get a lot of questions in inbox, Instagram, and stuff like that. So there's actually a link, and I'll post it at the end of our broadcast here. Stick to the end. A link to actually submit questions to us for us to answer in future videos.
I think that it should have been a surprise.
For what?
A surprise box of what they're going to get.
What are you talking about? No, because I need them to know that we're not going away.
No, we're not going away. I just said that we're not going away.
Yeah, but we're going to be doing question and answer videos. Next week, we're taking a week off. There will be nothing next week because we need time to produce that content. But then after that, unless we say otherwise, maybe holidays will make a difference or something, but let's say otherwise, every Thursday, in place of the live streams, you'll be getting those uploaded, pre-recorded videos. And we may change the day if I feel like it's a better day of the week to do it, but you'll get something once a week.
But guys, stay with us because we do have some hot fire stuff coming up. Is it up the pipeline, down the pipeline? I don't know how to really say that, but we got some hot fire stuff.
November's going to be a big month. I'm going to just say that.
Yeah.
So just stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yeah, I just can't wait. So stay tuned.
Yeah, because that's going to be pretty big. So I was thinking of announcing that thing today, but I'm just not ready yet.
We should simmer a little bit.
Yeah, not ready yet. So just look somewhere in the next week or two. You're going to get a very cool announcement for something that we're doing and we've been working on for probably a year, honestly. But anyway, okay, so let's get into it. So back to the questions I had. So again, in the comments, leave a question live that we can answer about us, about our lives. Y'all are not going to do it anyway. I'm going to still ask a relationship question. Okay. The first one comes from, and I'm sorry, I don't want to say your name, not because I don't want to shout it out, but I don't want to say it wrong.
I can't, wait.
See it?
Yeah, I'm going to say it all wrong.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. So I'm going to say Miss N. Diamini. Diamini, maybe? I'm trying to not say your name wrong. Anyway, your question that you posted was, you would like to know how, I'll just read it in your voice.
Let me just say this. We are Americans, okay? And we need nicknames, okay? Give us some nicknames so we will, or give us the spelling and the pronunciation.
But the spelling's there, pronunciation.
Pronunciation of your name, because
Yeah,
we don't
all right.
want to botch your name up.
All right, here we go. So I'm reading your voice. I would like to know I'd like to know if I'm over scrutinizing potential partners. I find myself underlining every word and joke they make and easily just write them off based off of a simple line that I consider a red flag. I just want to know if I'm overdoing it because I'm not perfect myself. Not sure if my walls are just unnecessarily high. I think you would actually do a very good job answering this one.
Well, it's funny because I actually was talking to one of my girlfriends. She's not married yet. And I sent her a TikTok, and this was a lady just talking about her stringent, qualifications for her husband. But yet she's always like, I'm not married yet. And I sent it to her. I was like, are you doing this? Because it's like, you can get to a place where you're so picky and you're so on guard that you don't leave room for, what's the word I always tell you all the time? Well, no room for error.
Okay.
Okay, like no margin of error at all. Because like you just said, you're not perfect either. You don't do or say everything right all the time. People are human. They have flaws. And then again, are they really flaws, or is it just you being actually fearful that you're going to choose the wrong person, or that person could be wrong for you? Like, you have to really check your fear and really calm down, because if you're truly being led by the Spirit of God in all that you do, and if you have confidence that you can hear from God, then you're not going to choose the wrong person. You're not going to make the mistake. Jalen and I, we are very flawed people, and trust and believe there are a lot of things that he has done, said before marriage, during.
That was our son making noise.
Oh, let me turn this down. I might hear him. Okay. That you may not like or agree with, but don't make them a bad person at all. They may have all the things that you need. So yeah, your walls might be a little too tight. But again, I don't know you, that's why I can't really judge.
Yeah, on the flip side, because we don't have any examples of what those red flags things might be, on the flip side, it may not be. But so the question really is, what are your qualifications?
That's true.
Now we did a couple of videos in the past talked about not having a list of things like he's got to be this height, he's got to be this skin tone, he's got to make this much money, and he's got to have this and be able to do this and that and all that kind of stuff. A lot of superficial things that can get in the way. All right, so that's number one. But then you also want to have a standard. You want to have qualifications that are based on your belief system. We always say that that's something that you got to have core values. And maybe we should just do a video one day on what your core values should be going into a relationship. But back in July, we did a video called 5 Questions to Ask While You're Getting to Know Each Other. So you can find that on our channel. If you're looking for the playlist, it's called the Summer of Jalen and Cacie playlist. If you go to our channel, it's there on that front page. And find that video, 5 Questions to Ask. And that's a good one. We do a lot of discussing what some of those core values should be and things that you should talk about before you get married, if you're interested in someone, if it's actually going somewhere. And so I would say maybe watch that video, and then what you can do, instead of kind of waiting for these one-liners from this guy from a guy that would throw you off, just start asking specific questions, find out what their values are, what do they believe, how do they believe about God, are y'all attending the same church? And if you're not, what are they teaching in that church? Do y'all values align in the first place? Because then if you can put a foundation of the Word of God that this relationship could stand on, then you can work through the other things,
Because I see it almost like this. You can have a car with a really good engine. Mm-hmm. Like it runs smooth, it works smooth, it's good on gas, everything works. But maybe the body, the exterior may not be flawless. Like it might have a few scratches and a few dings. It may not be the perfect looking car. And I'm not saying this person's ugly, but I'm talking about, you might pass up on something that's good and reliable because you're so focused on the imperfections that you see on the outside. and not realizing this car is going to get me from point A to point B very safe. It's going to be good. It's going to last me a long time. That kind of thing. So again, since we don't have context on what the red flags are for you we're just trying to generalize. Yes, sometimes we can be too extreme and we're super hyper about making sure we're not picking the wrong person, and we're hanging on to every little word and we're judging every little thing. And on the other side, these red flags might be important and you need to submit that to leadership. We always talk about having someone that you can be accountable to, that's a counselor, a spiritual guide for you, that you can bounce these things off of, because we can't really trust our emotions when we're dealing with a relationship type situation, because sometimes we can get too emotionally invested, even if we're not really in the relationship yet, but in our minds we're building these scenarios, and sometimes we can have a clouded point of view. So it's good to have spiritual leadership that you can go to, that you trust, that you can bounce this off of, and they can be more objective in these situations. Yeah,
and then you can know, is this really a red flag or not? All right, now this next question I really like, because it's kind of interesting to me, the way it was asked. This one's from Felicia Gertrude, and no, Gertrude, because there's no extra R in there. Okay, I put an R where there wasn't one. This question was, why are there fights during pregnancy times amongst couples, and how do you overcome to avoid breakup?
Because of hormones and we're tired.
Well, what's interesting to
I'm just kidding.
But what's interesting to me is the assumption that there's fights during pregnancy, because I don't remember us having any specific fights during pregnancy. I think we got along pretty well during pregnancy. I mean, any disagreements we had was disagreements we would have had otherwise.
Well, first of all, what are you fighting about? Because honestly, if you're fighting about core relationship issues, problems, then I would say that your relationship probably had problems before you got pregnant. So now that you are in a very intense scenario, because pregnancy it can put a lot of pressure on a relationship that's already rocky. And so you might be experiencing that. Now, if it's emotional, and I hate really saying hormonal, because I don't want to just say, well, you're just being hormonal, so this is why you act in this way. Because believe it or not, you can have self-control even in those situations. That's a whole nother conversation. But hormones do play a part. Like you're in a very intense situation, you're uncomfortable, you're tired, you're both are probably dealing with the reality of giving birth to a life. I don't know if this is your first pregnancy or not, but all that can weigh in, so it can make you sometimes very edgy. And if you're not very proficient already in communicating, if you're not already proficient in considering each other's emotions and feelings, things like that, this is going to be a heightened situation, and 9 times out of 10, we're going to say the wrong thing.
We did a video on stress. When stress attacks in marriage and diffusing stress. So just look up Jalen and Cacie diffusing stress, and you find it on YouTube.
You're so good at remembering these titles.
I deal with them all the time. I'm making the shorts. But anyway, so one thing we mentioned in that was that stressful situations are a part of life. And then I would say not necessarily bad situations. Getting pregnant is not a bad situation. But when you put stress on a relationship that has weaknesses, whether they're big weaknesses or small weaknesses, they're going to magnify because you're putting pressure on it, and so the cracks begin to grow. And so we talked about, in the midst of stressful seasons of marriage, how to deal with and how to manage these things, how to communicate and take time and be considerate of each other's feelings and each other's needs. So that would be something to watch. That'd be helpful. All of that being said, we may be reading too much into this and assuming too many positive things about this, because it says amongst couples, and how do you overcome to avoid breakup? I'm going to assume that you're not even married asking this question. Because, and I'm not saying it's impossible for married people to break up during pregnancy, but it doesn't sound very typical for something like that to happen. Because typically when you're married, you're in a stable relationship. Maybe you did actually plan to have that baby like we did. Or even if you didn't, because you're in a stable household where you have possibly 2 incomes and y'all plan to be together and children were a part of your plan, whether or not this particular pregnancy happened surprisingly or not, that tends to not be a breeding ground for on the edge of breaking up. Typically, you'll see something like that pop up when it's two people who were just dating, having fun, getting along, and then oops, one of us ends up pregnant. So that would be kind of the place where it's like, oh, it's a breakup. So if you're trying to avoid breakup and hold on to a relationship that's not even a marriage relationship, and you're trying to ask us how to do that, I don't know how to answer that one because we give marriage advice, not shacking up advice.
Well,
to be honest with you.
So, being that, again, another question without a whole lot of context. And they know we talk marriage, so I'm just going to assume that we're talking about marriage because a lot of marriages have broken up over, and I won't say over the pregnancy, but the pregnancy was like the straw that broke the camel's back. It was the last thing that your marriage can handle. And so if you're starting from an already cracked, broken foundation, then pregnancy is a very stressful time in a couple's life. Again, it's not a bad thing to have children, but it's just a whole different stress, something you never dealt with before. And just kind of trying to remember how we was dealing with things, because being pregnant is very demanding. I thank God for my husband, his ability to just have so much grace towards me, because I needed a lot of help. And he had a 9-to-5. He's working all the time. Come home, pretty much taking care of me, helping me doing things around the house, scratching my back and rubbing my feet, and helping me get in and out of the bed. It was a whole lot. It was a whole lot of things. So that in itself can be kind of stressful at times. And again, if you lack of sleep, lack of rest, and if you feel like you're not being supported or heard, all these things can be grounds for a lot of tension and arguing in your relationship. And again, if you are feeling like you at the brink of breaking up, your marriage or relationship was already in danger.
Yeah, and having babies isn't going to help it. It would hurt it.
It's not.
And I'll say this: you mentioned why does there fight so much when people get pregnant? Well, the thing that I would say is a breeding ground for that would be self-centeredness on either person's side, husband or the wife. And, if you're the wife being pregnant, you may feel entitled to the self-centeredness because you're producing this life and things like that. But I just want to let you know, self-centeredness does not work in marriage. And there's no time in marriage where it's acceptable and you can expect the marriage to work doing it. So although, yes, you are pregnant and you are deserving or in need of extra attention and care and all of that, if you decide on your own to take on a spirit of self-centeredness because you feel like you've earned it or you deserve it, you are damaging your marriage and you're going to create fights.
I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of times women that get pregnant, they feel like it's all about me, and it's not. Because you didn't get pregnant by yourself. And if you're in a relationship, you don't plan on raising this child by yourself. And your husband has needs. He is human. He won't stop being human just because you're pregnant. He has feelings and emotions just like you. His desires and needs don't just stop because there's a baby on the way. So we have to be considerate of that. And that was one thing that I really tried to consider, that my husband is human and he's tired too. And even though I wasn't in a physical capacity to do everything that I was doing before pregnancy, I did the best that I could.
And I want to say this, because whenever we say the needs of a man, we immediately jump to sex.
Yeah.
And maybe that's one of them.
That's one of them,
but
that's not all
that's
of them.
not it. I don't want you to think that that's just it. See, what happens is when a woman becomes pregnant, a lot of attention does go to her. Like I said, I believe it should, because she's just taking a life here, and it's to protect, we go into a nesting mode. But as a result, whatever caretaking the man did as a husband in his household dials up to 11. But he still got the original responsibility he still had before that, and then he adds on that extra and maybe picks up some of the slack that the wife now is not able to do just physically because of what's going on.
You need to really show a lot of gratitude.
Yeah.
Say thank you. Like, say thank you.
It means a lot during that season that you recognize that.
I recognize you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And not, well, I'm pregnant. Well, I'm pregnant. You should understand, I'm pregnant, because believe it or not, though he may not be carrying the child physically, he is carrying that child in his spirit, in his mind. There's a pressure and a weight that he is dealing with now, because now he got to not just be your husband, but now he's a father too. And that's a whole nother responsibility. And understand that the enemy is going to come against his mind, trying to attack him and bring all kinds of fear, doubts, and unbeliefs. and things like that. And we don't need to be adding to that by not being thankful and not showing gratitude towards our husband. And I see that a lot of times women, we become very selfish, almost like the whole bridezilla mentality. Now it's a momzilla. It's all about me, all about me. It's not all about you.
And, you're carrying the baby. He's carrying you and the baby.
Yeah.
And he's doing it mentally and spiritually. And then on the flip side, man, you can't become self-centered doing that, because I've heard that too.
Yeah.
And then that one just boggles my mind. I actually kind of understand from the woman's perspective why she would think that's okay. But I've never got it compute in my head when a man suddenly becomes a child while his wife is pregnant and suddenly becomes super extra needy with no realization of, okay, your wife's entire life has just changed during these 9 months. What are you doing? So you need to have grace, man, to understand that every day that she wakes up, she probably feels different than she did the way before. Absolutely. There's an element of fear that she may be battling because she doesn't know what her body is doing. And when she feels something new or something new happens, she's finding the fear of, is something wrong? Is this okay? Is this normal? Blah, blah, blah. So come out of yourself for a moment and realize, okay, it's not all about me right now. And her attention is split.
Yeah.
If she was a doting wife who gave all her attention to me, now that attention is necessarily going to be split during this season. And even after the baby is born, there's still a certain split that has happened that you're going to have to learn to live with it as a couple communicating. You're going to have to learn how to work with and around now that you have children. So don't be oblivious to the fact that her entire world has changed soon as she realizes I'm pregnant. At that moment, everything shifts for her, emotionally, hormonally, spiritually, everything. And you need to be there and be supportive and be understanding and communicative. And yes, it is okay for you to have needs. You don't have to shut your own needs and desires off and say, well, I just, I can't have anything because it's all about her, blah, blah. I'm not saying that. But at the same time, you don't do what we were just saying that for her not to do. Don't you become self-centered and pouty because I'm not getting the same attention that I used to. Don't compete with your unborn child.
Raise your hands in the comments if you want us to do a video on first-time parenting, because I really feel like that's something that we don't talk about a lot, but it's really needed because you're trying to find that balance.
Yeah.
Especially with your first time, and maybe for your second, third time, maybe you never figured it out, but finding that balance between just the two of us to the three of us, and that's a good title book. It can be challenging, and like you said, the fears of the unknown. Even if you plan for this baby, there's still a lot of unknown aspects that you don't really know how to prepare for.
Right.
And if you, again, are struggling with communication and all these things prior to marriage, it's going to be even worse once the baby come on the scene.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was a good piece. I like that part.
Yeah, that was good. So those were the two non-us related questions that that we got, and we got a little more time, so I'm gonna just bring up a question. One, I'm like I'm a viewer. I'm gonna ask you one, then you ask me one.
You're gonna ask me a question.
I'm asking
so
one.
Now I gotta ask you a question.
Yeah, and then you ask me one, and then I ask one. So
I gotta think on it.
Okay, but the question I'm gonna ask you is, what are some of the challenges? Kind of like going on to this question, being a wife, but also being a new mom that you've encountered.
See, be parenting video. But what's the question again?
So what are some of the challenges that you've encountered continuing to be a wife and keeping up wifely duties or whatever you want to call them while also being a mom?
A lot. Okay, that's when you talk about this in a whole series. I think we kind of touched on it already. I think finding that balance of attention between the baby and you, because I feel like, especially that first year of having our son, I knew you was there, and it was like I knew I needed to attend to your physical needs, mental needs, spiritual, all of the, even like just cooking, clean, all that stuff. Like, I knew you needed that, but it was almost like, I don't know how, because I'm so exhausted sometimes mentally, because this new person now I'm trying to develop a relationship with, he's demanding. He needs all my attention, all my time. I'm feeding him from my body. That was a whole other thing too. It's like, oh my God, every 2 hours he needs me, you know. And I think it was just trying to find that balance between that attention and who needed it more, and not to devalue what you needed just so that I could attend to what our son needed. And then I guess it's a third part, finding the balance to take care of myself.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, and not feeling guilty for doing that, because now that I have this baby, we automatically think that all the attention and time ought to be on this baby, not knowing when and how to ask for help, because I didn't want to be judged and feel like I was a bad mom. Because sometimes you can feel like you're a bad mom immediately if you're not looking like the Instagram moms. You know, you're a boss mom. You can do all of it and still have these kids. And that wasn't me. Everybody's story is different. Everybody's different. But again, I felt like we had our son in sort of another whirlwind of events happening in our lives. And so it was really just trying to find that balance. And I got to a point where I had to just surrender to help. Help from God and help from friends and family. And it was the best thing that I could do, because I got to a point where I realized I cannot do this by myself. Yep. And if I try, I'm going to break. And I could feel myself getting to that mental edge, and it was just like, I'd never been there before. And but thank God for his grace and friends and family. And so I'm good. I'm good now. I hope I answered the question. Did I answer the question?
I think so.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Whew, now I got to give you a question.
Yeah.
What?
While you think of that, I'll just vamp a little bit about some of the other things we got going on. Channel memberships. You know, we did a course, Overcome the Spirit of Depression. Hope that people were able to tune into that. Shout out to our channel members, and I'll pull that up as well. But I just want to encourage everyone to still look at joining up, because one of our upcoming announcements has to do in regards to something that it will be exclusive to channel members. And so now would be a good time to be a channel member.
Yeah,
you can wait for the announcement if you want to, but I'm just saying that, you know, I just want to say, hey, something good is coming. So let me shout out channel members right now. We got Images by Zell, Ladine Ridley, Lindy Moyo, and Jeremy Dixon. Thank you so much for being signed up. Some of you have been here for 2 months, 3 months. That's awesome. And we really do appreciate it. It makes a big difference. And if you're someone who likes what we do and you want to support what we do and help us with actual money, that's what channel memberships are for. And there's tiers to choose from. And in return, you get different perks and things. And one of those perks are those exclusive courses and exclusive productions. And even some of the tiers, you actually can get access to like special mini vlogs and things like that, exclusive to the channel members. So we just appreciate that. That's the join button next to the subscribe button. So always consider that and look out for the next special production that's going to be exclusive to all our channel members. It's going to be really fun.
It's going to be fire. Like,
we're putting a lot of work into this. It's going to be our most produced thing ever.
It's going to be one of the best production values that we've done so far on this channel. So it will behoove you. It will be in your best interest to go ahead and become a channel member. Even if you just do it for the month of November, like just do it for 1 or 2 months so you can have this thing and you're not going to regret it. So
also Project 1 Million, which is our Facebook group, private Facebook group for people who want to help us spread the word about what we're doing on our all our channels. And what we do is we provide you with videos that you can post to your social media accounts, and so that you can even build your own following if you like using our content. But spread the word about what we're doing, and so we can reach 1 million people with the gospel.
I think I'm gonna leak something, and my husband will be like,
I think you already leaked it, didn't you? On one of your other videos or something?
No, I ain't talking about that. It's the conversation that we had the other day about how we want to help people.
Oh, I don't mind it. We haven't figured out how we're going to do it yet.
We haven't solidified it yet, okay? So since this is going to be the last live for a while,
you got something to mull over.
We might as well go ahead and just talk about a few things. So, and I got a question for you.
Okay,
but, in the time past, we have tried to figure out how we want to reach out to people and help, because we get a lot of questions, and, we want to offer one-on-ones with people face-to-face, because we like touching people. Like, that's how we do our best ministry, is when we in your face and we can really talk to you and really get behind the scenes on what's really going on. Because even though you ask questions and we've helped a lot of people with answering those questions, but when you don't have the full picture, sometimes it's just really hard. And so our answers can be kind of just broad, you know, and not very detailed to your particular situation. So we've been talking about it recently and kind of praying over, like, okay, we really want to do this because we are ministers and we want to make a difference in your life. So we are coming up with a way where you guys can have one-on-ones with us, and it's going to be awesome. And I think you guys are really going to like it. I guess we'll be talking about that in the coming weeks and things like that. We're just trying to set up all the logistics behind it.
Yeah, logistics behind it.
So if you're interested in that, again, leave some hearts and love. Let us know that, yes, I'm interested in that one-on-one. I have questions. I want guidance. And you look forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. And by one-on-one we're talking about, it will be like
video chat,
like a session with us.
So you and your spouse, or if you're a single man or single woman and you want some guidance, or you're you and your fiance, you know, you want some guidance, things like that, you were able to sit down with us from wherever you are in the world, and we can talk to you one-on-one.
Yep.
I think that'd be pretty awesome.
Pretty cool. So look out for that.
Yeah.
A lot of things.
Yeah. So my question is going to be very similar to what you asked me. What? What was that face for?
Because it's the same question. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, listen, Leroy. Okay. Dang it! Now it makes me feel bad.
No, go ahead.
But yeah, like becoming a new. What was your mindset? Where were you initially? What was the thing that you felt like you were attacked with immediately when you found out we was having JJ?
Oh, I thought about this one because we did a whole series on getting pregnant. So that part, yeah, I mean, I just repeat that. The first attacks was just fear of, is everything gonna be okay? Was he going to be born? You know, fear of all that stuff. So that's what I dealt with and had to fight.
Were you
during the pregnancy.
surprised by those fears?
Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. I thought maybe that if you had asked me a few years ago before we got married, if I had thought that I was ever challenged with that, maybe not. Once I was in it, I don't feel like I was terribly shocked. Just like you kind of learn as you go through marriage that things are a little bit different and who you really are and all that. But you know, the Lord prepared us right before we were talking about it. We went to that meeting, the Victory Campaign with Kenneth Copeland, and the Lord spoke something to me during that meeting that prepared me, gave me a word to stand on. And all the challenges and things we ran into while being pregnant and everything, you know, we were able to get through it. So yeah, pretty much straight on, it was just the concern of him being okay, him being born normal, and all of that. And that's mainly what I dealt with as soon as I found we were pregnant, or maybe even leading into it and getting pregnant. Yeah, so that was mine.
How did you find balance?
During pregnancy?
Yeah. Did you feel like you had balance?
Yeah, I mean, that part, here's the thing, the pregnancy itself was kind of fun.
Good. I think we did pretty good.
Yeah, I was that.
I mean,
it was. If you asked me about the newborn life, that was tough.
Yeah, that was harder.
The pregnancy part, though, that 9 months was cool. Like, we were pretty much chilling. Did it thing free? No, we're good. Okay. No, it was just that still for a second. Sorry. Yeah, no, we were, at least from my perspective, I was pretty much good.
For our first pregnancy, I really feel like we did very well. And not to brag or anything like that, but considering everything was going on in the world, like this is like pandemic 101.
Everything was going on. Like there was so much going on around us. But like I said, besides just the concern of like him being okay and fighting that battle of faith,
had fun.
You know, we were good. Like we had fun. I mean, and not to get too deep into anything else here, but we talked about needs and stuff. Sex was fire during pregnancy. I'm sorry, it was. Like, and I was surprised. The only thing was most surprising for me, it was that, because I didn't know what you were going to be like. But once you got over the first, like that trimester where you feel sick all times like that.
First trimester and some of the second, it was like
but
love.
But other than that, we were surprisingly good, and we got along. We ate good. I gained a lot of weight during that. Well. You can see the videos we were doing there. My face was a little chunky there. You know, we spent some more time together because of the pandemic. My job never shut down, but I did get some days off. I was able to kind of spend some time at home. You were home. So now I was kind of living my best life during that time. We were pretty good, and it was fun just kind of watching the progression of things, you know.
And I mean, we had great family, and we have great family, and there was nothing that I could want that my family was not going to get
Oh,
me.
yeah.
Like your mom, cause towards the third trimester, like it was uncomfortable. I couldn't lay down. I couldn't. It was just uncomfortable. I couldn't sleep, whatever. And she literally brought me a whole lazy boy chair.
Oh, is that where that came from?
Yeah, your mom got that for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, dang, this is nice. You know, just to be able to kind of get whatever I needed. So yeah, we didn't have a lot of struggles. We didn't have any struggles, to be honest with you, that I can remember or note during the actual pregnancy. And I think you may have mentioned this on other videos where I feel like I'm thankful that we did all that work prior because we got pregnant at the right time for us.
Yeah.
Because we were solid in our relationship. And not that we haven't grown even more since then, but at that point, we were secure in who we were, or who we are with each other, and our communication was a lot better. We just was more grounded.
I'll give you one moment just to make sure, because if we do more on this, I may do a video of that. There's one moment where I had a moment of, I'll call it my temporary insanity. Because when I caught it later, I was like, what the heck, Jalen? You about to do something real stupid. It was early on. And
early in the pregnancy?
Yeah, early in the pregnancy. And I was just real busy or whatever. And you were doing less around the house and things like that because you were pregnant and you were dealing with stuff. And I was going to have, it wasn't going to be a mean conversation, but I was going to have a conversation with you about kind of like picking up the pace a little bit and kind of getting back to doing more things like that. And I don't even know what the reason was. For some reason, I never had a conversation. Like I got busy or I just put it off, whatever like that. I did not have.
Lord, shut your mouth.
What was funny is, then some weeks later, I remember remembering wanting to have that conversation. And then I was like, whoa, Jalen, that was really dumb. Like, what were you thinking? And I couldn't even figure out what frame of mind I was in then. Like, maybe I was just kind of stressed out for a little period of time, but a few weeks later, I was fine, and I didn't even feel any of what I was feeling then. So just a note to people, don't react emotionally, me and your emotions. Wait a few weeks, because you could be in a completely different place. And then the rest of it, pregnancy was fine. I didn't feel like I was overworked or anything like that. Maybe a few times being tired or something like that, but, you know, that just kind of goes the season of life. But overall, no, the pregnancy was pretty smooth sailing to me, you know.
Well, I never knew that, so
yeah.
Praise God you didn't say anything. We may not be sitting here on this couch today.
Yeah, funny.
That's cool.
But yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, that's fun. Okay, so thank you guys for being here. So, you know the drill. Next week, no live, no video. Following weeks, there will be videos. There won't be lives, but there will be question and answer segments. I posted a link here for you to answer a question. To ask a question if you like for those future videos, because we'll probably be doing that for the rest of the year. Stay tuned. Big announcements coming. Oh, there's something else we didn't even mention. That's in the mail.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's a visual thing.
Yeah, so that's going to be fun
see
too.
That one. Like I told y'all, we be doing things, guys.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of stuff.
2023 is going to be so fire.
Yep.
But we gotta really wrap up 2022 and just really go hard in the next 3 months and focus on that. So yeah.
So it's gonna be fun. So anyway, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. We love you. Leave a comment if you watch all the way to the end.
Make sure you follow us on Instagram because we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, and we are now on Twitter. We talk about that.
Oh yeah, we're on Twitter. We got back on Twitter. We've been off Twitter for years. We got back on Twitter.
We're on Twitter.
Last time we were on Twitter, we were doing Periscopes. That's how long ago.
Yeah, it's been a long time. So everywhere, all social media is Jalen and Cacie.
Jalen and Cacie. Yep. So love you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.